Hello friends, today we will review the movie Superhero, and Super Cool Venom. A spaceship of Life Foundation on his way back to Earth suddenly exploded and fell to the East Malaysia. The ship carries 4 alien objects. One of them escaped. The rest is transported to the research center in the US. A female policeman discovered a ferocious astronaut. She took him to the emergency hospital. On the way, he woke up to attack the female police officer. The parasite from his body moved to the female police. She ripped the car and went out. In her hand is the Life Foundation logo. Back to the city of San Francisco, this guy is Eddie Grapp. He is a reporter specializing in investigating wrong ground activities, defending the poor, the representative of the cause. This task, the owner of the editorial office was to interview Catherine Direct, founder and director of the group, Life Foundation. But this time, he forced him to flatter him. Eddie felt unhappy, but still agreed. He is living with her beautiful lover Annie, and the two are preparing to get married. She made a law firm representing Life Foundation. After the meeting, Eddie drove her motorbike home. The two of them together are close to each other. While she slept, Eddie opened the refrigerator to get drinking water. He accidentally saw Annie's computer still open. He secretly posed the secret document of Life Foundation about the recent crops. The next morning, Ka Tan had a great speech with the children, including a little girl raised her hand to ask. Fish praised the brave girl and gave her a secret. The female doctor Scott appeared to replace the assistant. Fish started the interview with Eddie. Fish must be said to be a young person with many successes. Currently, his corporation is exploring the resources outside the Earth. Eddie began to ask deeply about the illegal actions of Tauntaun as the fox to the pharmaceutical company, and build a company on a mountain of people. Fish for people to remove video recording equipment and chase Eddie out of the company. Eddie did not know that what he did would change his life to another direction. Even a tragedy of the editorial office does not accept unfounded words. So Eddie lost her job. This arrogance not only affects him, but also leads to Annie. She was angry because Eddie took advantage of her, and returned him with the ring with that was a farewell. Then Annie turned away. At the same time, the missing animals were transferred to the research room of Ka Tan. The policeman was clung to the residential area, walking to a small restaurant. She caught a fish and greedily. The owner of the shop was prevented, but was killed by the monster inside her. The people panicked and flee. The group of young people came to Nia Hep, but was also killed by monsters. Seeing an old lady who had a back, the monster also had a new host. 6 months later, Dr. Scott found that parasites need respiratory hosts, with new oxygen that can survive. And the experiment on the rabbit was successful. Fish wants her to promote the experimental progress on the human body. Scott refused, because this was too early. It may cause moral damage, and they start the test on people. Eddie is now a broken guy. It is true that unjustly Narrow Lane, the person who makes Tang Tang defeated harshly, is also sporty on the TV. There is a person who drinks nearby alcohol Eddie. He was bored and walked out. On the way, he met Maja. She is a homeless person living by selling old newspapers to the pedestrians. Eddie bought a newspaper for $20 because she was a good person. He walked into Mrs. Chan's supermarket. She cared that Eddie and reminded him to practice meditation to overcome stress. At this time, there was a robber, collected. Eddie hid behind the shelf to see. He had a gun. He could not stop him. This guy took a bottle of wine and some money, and left. Mrs. Chan looked at him with heavy eyes. Coming to the house, he saw that the couple was vacuuming. It was true that the chest. Eddie looked at overdue letters of credit and other notification calls. Almost everyone refused him. He delineated to wash dishes on the newspaper. Eddie tried to listen to Mrs. Chan. He took meditation and started practicing meditation. In less than 3 minutes, my friend's friend opened the music. At Life Foundation's laboratory, Ka Tan for experiments on people. This volunteer tester is Isaac. Ka Tan began to say sweet words to Paisim, that this planet was gradually collapsing, and only Isaac can change this. He put his hand on the glass, and said we would succeed, and promised not to abandon him. Then he asked the people to release parasites. The monster is as blue as a pile. Isaac panicked and screamed. The monster climbed on him, and gradually absorbed into the host's body. Biological data shows normal, but less than a minute, this person convulsed and died shortly thereafter. Eddie still goes on the old way home, but I won't see Maja. And he realized someone followed him. That is Dr. Scott. And she said she was working for Life Foundation. She said all his allegations of Ka Tan were true. People who are captured as white mice for experiments are increasing, and they are dying. Hearing that, the righteous person inside Eddie arose. Scott said at first she told herself that was right, but now she was too far away. She could not report to the police because his power was too strong, and he is very dangerous. Eddie knew what danger was like. It made him lose everything that was the most important in his life. Then he told her to ask another white knight to help. He will not
participate in this mess. Eddie accidentally passed by her former and Annie house. At this time, she just got home. She introduced her new boyfriend to him. The new boyfriend gave up the space for both. And enter the house. She introduced her boyfriend to be a surgeon. Eddie said, I missed Annie. The two of them almost held a wedding, but now breaking up. He hopes that both of them can come back together. However, she refused, because he himself did it, not the fault of anyone else. Eddie held the engagement ring of the two. He looked towards Life Foundation, except the request of Dr. Scott, simply because he had nothing to lose. Dr. Scott hid Eddie into the car and take him inside. She said the population overload and climate change were two things. Unbelievable. He sent spacecraft to space to find new life, accidentally met a star including millions of students, and they brought several samples back to Earth. They are called symbiotes, and they cannot exist in the Earth without the host. There is a patrol guard. She put Eddie inside the lab to get information, and I will distract the guards. Inside is a cold blue. He took the phone to take these real images. Some people died also, lying in a coma. He accidentally met his homeless friend Maja. He entered the wrong password, accidentally activating the warning. The emergency situation of England took a fire extinguisher, breaking the glass door. Maja fell down. While there is a monster in the person, Maja has swapped to Eddie. Then Maja died. The emergency alarm signal is thrown up. Eddie quickly ran out. He accidentally flew up to the wall, and then defeat two police officers. He also used the foot of the iron door. Eddie ran out of the fence in an unbelievable way. The watchmen hunted Eddie. They also have a fleet. However, when approaching the sign of Eddie, it turned out that he climbed the trees miraculously. Arriving at his house, he contacted Scott, see if she is safe or not. He began to be intense thirst. Next is extremely hungry. Eddie took all the bread in the refrigerator to eat, even hooked the trash bin to take the rotten meat to bite. Then he ran into the toilet to vomit. Eddie didn't know what happened to her. When he was brushing his teeth, he saw a stranger in the mirror. Because he fainted. Fish go to the scene of the incident. He was crazy and for the investigator. Meanwhile, another host is gradually stabilizing. He strengthened the testing process to give early results. Eddie regained consciousness. Looking at the house was stuck by me. The initial parasitic woman went to the airport to come to the US. This new host is a girl. Eddie ran to look for Annie. He showed her he had taken photos in Life Foundation. Annie thought he was crazy. Eddie took a tray of food, bite, and then spit out. Then dive into other dining tables. Annie's boyfriend punched him once, but Eddie doesn't care, continuing to earn food. Feeling too hot body, he took off his shirt and climbed into the lobster. The feeling of being high. Dan told the owner of the restaurant that was his patient. Eddie took a living lobster chewing. The feeling of hunger like never eaten. Then knit him a dose of a god, and take Eddie to the hospital for the projection. During the scan, Eddie's body was in painful fields. Dan must turn off the device and go to Eddie health check. Then Dan told Eddie home. A few days will report the results to him. On the bus back home, Eddie's mind always heard a strange voice. His actions panic. Annie telephone informed Eddie that he was parasitic and they didn't know where he was infected. Eddie said she heard strange sounds. There is also a very fast climbing capacity. However, Dan only helped him with a few sedative prescriptions. The next room opened a loud music again. This made him frustrated. Eddie warned this name to turn off the music and scare him, making this guy scared. At this time, Dr. Scott's actions were also discovered. She was taken to Carter. Scott tried to explain what she did, due to her confusion. He persuaded her to save the people here, and the other friend is also in danger, and he promised to change the way. Scott lightly believed the Wolf Carter. Opening Eddie is her partner. Then the reward for her was the monster. At this time, Eddie took out food from the oven. He heard that the warning was not opened. However, the boy opened the door. A group of strangers rushed in and grabbed his shirt. They are Carter's minions. He quickly surrendered, but the parasite inside stopped him. Given that he was losing their face, they asked Eddie the parasite, and started using anesthetic gun to shoot at the British. With the arrogant nature, the monster inside does not allow him to give up. It helped Eddie to handle these people, also turn out of their necks. The leg can also bend to throw charges. It pulled him aside to avoid bullets. Eddie took the seat to hit a name. He also turned a big fist. For this name, Ironface. The last name was also resolved quickly. The parasite inside told him to chew their heads. But Eddie did not listen. And a name at the door is also measured. He quickly ran out of the house. Seeing the enemy with guns, Eddie turns to the window and danced. At this time, his strength gradually revealed. He rushed into a downstairs apartment. On the other side, Eddie attacks with black shields. The henchmen sent photos from the fight now to Carter. Carter was surprised because Eddie had owned the parasite. Eddie looked into the mirror. Reflective image is a demon. He tried to refuse to understand it. He accidentally criticized it as a parasite. The monster immediately hung him on the wall. During the argument, an unmanned aircraft attacked, rushed to explode. Fortunately, Eddie has parked a motorbike before. Fi-Fi quickly forward. However, all actions of Eddie are monitored. The commander of the men went to catch Eddie. He launched countless drones. The parasite helps him by kicking the throttle. Just dodging and avoiding hands. Bypass these aircraft. Eddie has never had such a silent hammock. The aircraft stopped as invalid compared to the current Eddie process. Fish observed everything that was happening out there. He said this was unbelievable. A plane sticking to Eddie. The monster swinging the tentacles grabbed a car door to support him on behalf of him. He turned around and saw that there were two aircraft clinging to. One was stabbed into the roadside car. The other one, Eddie had to brake quickly but still be shocked. At this time, he ordered all the ground media to stop Eddie. A car across the intersection. However, for him is a small thing. Eddie had a phase that went into the ground. The car launched through a high slope, then proceed to a dead end. Monsters help him make a furnace to shoot through this area easily. The 2 cars still persevere. The monster helped him pave the way forward. There were 2 other units waiting to release Eddie's car. I thought I was about to meet my grandparents, but then the 2 cars were cut off the back. Due to the indifferent Eddie was hit by a vehicle directly. His body was seriously hurt. The guy got off the car to look at Eddie's poor appearance. But unlucky for him, the monster grabbed his neck. The injured parts just began to heal. Its true body has gradually appeared. With a lot of teeth without being shouted, he looked at the name with his usual eyes, then licked his face. A rear shot at the monster. It returned to chew this person's head, then jump over the cars, finally jump on the river. It swims over the river less than a knot. Eddie looked at the leg no longer broken. He was too tired to sit down. The monster began to appear, just chewing one person's head. Venom said it was just a way to recover. It said it needed Carter's missile. Eddie asked Venom to eat anyone else, and the answer is yes. If they work together, then both have the opportunity to survive. On the way home, Dan called Annie. Eddie, test results have included results, and he wanted her to take Eddie to the hospital immediately. Police blockade around the house of Eddie, and they told her carefully, because there are many people dying tonight. Return to the lab. A dead parasite of Dr. Scott. Carter told the subordinates not to be killed Eddie, but bring him back immediately. Eddie went to the editorial office, but the old colleague stopped him. Venom told him to chew his head quickly. Eddie deceived Venom because the friend was married. Then he opened the door and ran out. Venom guessed what Eddie needs is climbing up, so Venom helped Eddie easily climb to the top of the tower. Venom sees this place very peaceful and beautiful. There is a ventricular aircraft. Its stable sound makes Venom disappear. Eddie slipped from the top of the tower. Fortunately, Venom promptly clung to the railing to save the lives of both. Also helped him break into the room of the editorial owner. Eddie said Venom was about to kill himself. Venom said if he died, he would die, because no host is more suitable than him. And Venom started to like this guy. Then he recorded confidential documents and left. Venom said preparing to dance, but Eddie decided to take the elevator for safety. As soon as he stepped out, the police shocked the gun into Eddie. He showed the shape of Venom playing with them. Venom took a smoke grenade, also the second fruit. In the fog of smoke open, Venom began to attack one by one. The number of police, each person was given a residue by Venom. It also gathered their guns to the ball, and Kwong is the opposite of them. The police used a grenade to throw directly at Venom. He climbed up the iron truss. Avoid bullets. A big seal fell to the ground. Venom jumped down, hold a person's leg, and use him like a pounding rice, then throw him away. A police officer shot discharge into Venom. At this time, Eddie prevented Venom from eating police. Annie appeared to see the monster preparing to eat people. She turned away. Eddie showed the picture of her after her. He explained it lies in his body, and he felt scared. You need her to help me. She agreed, and opened the car door to take him to the hospital. In the car, she said she would take someone again. Venom told me not like that, because it hurt him. There is also fire that will harm him. She asked Eddie in pain. Venom told him he has never apologized for the previous story, and remind him that he won't have any other chances to say any more. Eddie looked at the person she had hurt. He really apologized to her about what happened to her, and he loves Annie. Her tears have liked it. Annie has been waiting for this sentence for a long time. He felt so cold. He asked her to borrow her shirt to wear. The two do not know that there is a plane still sticking to them. She was infected with parasites at the airport, have reached the lab. She grabbed Carter's neck and began to switch the host. The two of them went to Dan's hospital. He said Eddie's heart had a problem. Venom in the mind says,
Can cure Eddie. While arguing, Venom grabbed Dr. Dan's neck and remind him. Annie quickly turned on the MRI device to save Dan. The monster parasites in Eddie's body are very afraid of large frequency sound. It escaped from his body. Dan quickly latched the glass. Eddie pointed to the animal. Are you going to kill me? Yet just now confessed we were sweet. After saying that, he left. While Annie explained everything happened to Eddie. Venom has passed through the escape air filter. Dan pointed to the room to ask about the monster. When did it disappear? Venom has entered the small dog in the next disease room. Eddie has just opened the elevator door. Carter's subordinates shot anesthetic at the British. The small dog saw this scene. It encountered Annie and chose her as the host. Eddie regained consciousness. He was tied to the lab of Carter. He asked him where his sample was, but Eddie said didn't know, and if she knew it, it wouldn't be said. He said people are on the verge of extinction, and he is creating this world. Humans and symbiote will combine together. Eddie insisted on not answering. He got angry and turned into a monster like him. He asked where Venom was. Seeing no more value, he sent his subordinates to take him to Resolve. The monster inside Carter said, in its planet there are tens of thousands of such children, and both will come together to welcome the army symbiote arrives to Earth. Carter's subordinates put Eddie into a deep forest. He went down to Eddie. Venom appeared to bite him. Then hold Eddie collar and kiss Mr. Thomkiet. Venom has returned to compatible host. Annie awake because I just chewed the other guy. And Eddie has done the same. Venom said that the parasite in Carter is Joff. It is the leader of symbiote, and it has arsenal. Venom told him to stop him, and Annie also wants to follow, but for her safety, Venom did not accept. Carter ordered scientists to start the spacecraft. He himself will drive the ship into the space. Venom said if it did not stop Joff, he will bring the symbiote army to invade the Earth. Initially, Venom was like evil symbiote, but now he has decided to stay on Earth. In his planet, Venom is also the one who fails like Eddie, but here Venom can be superhero, and Venom began to love the Earth. Carter started to enter the missile password within 5 minutes. An employee behind wants to cancel the missile launch process, but Joff discovered and killed this person. Joff also used his arms to turn out 2 blades of the scientists. Venom and Eddie also arrived. Venom says this name has items that Eddie has never seen, and their chances of victory are almost 0. But with a lot of tactics, Venom rushed towards Joff. He blocked Joff and told us not to let people destroy this world. Joff, angry, one hand turned into a thorn, the other hand is a sharp knife. Venom turned out a shield, then used his hand to grab the face of Joff to beat his head to the ground, then launched the Rock Bay. However, Joff smashed her hand on the background of countless sharp thorns towards Venom. Venom tapped Joff's lack, but was knocked out by sharp thorns. Next are the cyber attacks to the magnetic rules Joff. He pulled Venom out of Eddie's body. While he tried to glare Venom, Eddie promptly entered with Venom. Both monsters were stuck and filled with fire. Eddie and Carter also do not forgive the opponent. But Joff was so strong that he sucked Venom into his body. Running a piece, the sound of the tone emitted the suppression of Joff. Venom also, thanks to that, separate Joff. It turned out that Annie was a bad player behind Joff. At this time, there was no parasite. Carter beat it to Eddie. Eddie was equally given him a falling punch. Eddie also fell from the ship. However, when he turned his back, he had a knife through his body. Joff ended him. Then he ran towards the ship and crept inside. Venom appears to cling to Eddie and revive the host. Venom pulled the sword in his body, jump on the spacecraft. Joff looked at Venom through the glass and scolded him as a betrayal. Venom said goodbye and used his knife to teach the spacecraft. The ship quickly exploded and dragged Joff and Carter evaporate. Venom fell down from above and used the body to kill Eddie from the fire. Eddie suffered into the lake below. After that day, both of them used to confide in each other. He will not be a reporter anymore and want to focus on writing. Annie condolences about Venom's eye loss. Eddie did not answer and talked about their kiss in the forest. He still loves Annie so much, and she also had faith again Eddie. Actually, Venom has not died. Perhaps Venom is the most enthusiastic emotional advisor. He retired from the beauty. A blind old man reminded him, don't give up her. Venom looked at him to say that the animal looked delicious. 2 people negotiating together. Venom could not arbitrarily bite himself. In this world, there are good people and evil people. Venom can only take extremely bad people. Venom agrees to agree. Unfortunately, Venom doesn't know how to distinguish who good and bad. Eddie went to Mrs. Chan's store. He asked what Venom wanted to eat. Venom said she liked to eat chips and chocolate. He heard that there was a loud voice. It turned out that it was the gangster's name collecting the protection of Mrs. Chan. Venom grabbed his arm. He began to warn the villain not to bully good people, otherwise it will eat all limbs, turn him into a pile of stool in the wind. Explains so tired, Venom
Grabbed this guy in his mouth quickly. Mrs. Chan saw the scene of terrifying fear. Eddie said she was parasitic. Then wished Chan to night and leave. Venom is angry when it is called a parasite, and asking Eddie to apologize to me. And with the current capacity, both can do everything we want. This is the end of the movie. Let's come to part 2. In 1996, at the crazy trade camp, the detention of Kasadi murderer, and a girl with a superpower, control power. As soon as the light was off, Kasadi sent her fabric ring to her. Zanzi accepted it to wear a knock. Choking said because his ability was growing stronger. So in the near future, it will be taken to a place to detain people like her. Kasadi was extremely panicked. The police took her right before her eyes. Kasadi. He could only scream in helplessness. On the way, Zanzi used his ability. The terrible sound wave emitted, making the young police off the ear bleed. She rushed up to snatch his gun, while Patrick shot her from the car. Zanzi woke up in the hospital room with an injured eye, looking at the Litchi ring still in his hand. Outside again, he welcomed to the new house. Currently, a psychiatrist came to check Zanzi. The staff also had to dare to enter the ear. Zanzi was locked in a separate glass chamber. She used her dangerous gaze to look at the staff, then roared like a crazy, causing the staff to make Rice scared. Zanzi picked up the newspaper, and it was shocked when Kasadi's beloved was about to sleep with garlic. On this side, young police Patrick Ever. Now he was a detective, and this and that. He invited our main character Eddie, although he did not want to involve any murderer. But he asked to meet him alone. Patrick turned away. The cute Venom exclaimed that he wanted to chew his head to help. What do you think? This is the same as if I interviewed an interview with a mess? Venom must go to save the world to be right. Eddie was very difficult to pull Venom head into the toilet, unaware that the room next to someone. The girl heard the voice of 2 men from the next wall, then looked over but only saw that there were 2 legs of Eddie. After bullying Eddie once, the new Venom suffered. Patrick felt strange, but only thought that this journalist was schizophrenic. He finally interviewed the death row inmate. Instead of answering his question, he mentioned Eddie's recent work issue. Kasadi suggested that he would take him to the peak of a career by telling all the secrets to Eddie. But in return, he had to write everything he told. The murderers are always the hot focus of public opinion. Eddie wondered why he chose himself. Kasadi said because he liked him.
then just closing the rafters. But this time he only told him a few dark things. Right when Eddie was about to leave, Venom wanted him to look closely at the wall. In the wall that Kasadi, spend your life to stay. Out of the police station, and extracted very disappointed when Eddie did not get any information. And always, before he chewed the head of this policeman. After returning to Venom, I requested a pen. Then he just needed a few basic lines. Has drawn all the things seen on the wall. Then Venom painted a house again. Then a tree. But Venom is still not satisfied. Everything goes to his hand. Venom dragged the chair down. Use your hand to draw a place. Then search it on Google. When comparing it, it is not wrong. It is this island. The next morning, the police have come to find the close site of the murderer. News quickly spread on TV. His career was therefore up like a kite. Meanwhile, Patrick, the chest, when he got his upper hand. And Kasadi because of sufficient evidence that faces death. Zanzi was in pain that generated strength in the confinement. That night, while Eddie was premiered, then Venom suggested that they can participate in the case. He became a savior, and he has a bad person to chew his head. When Eddie did not give, Venom sulked to break the ball to sit at home. Venom wants to eat a countryside. Eddie kept making him eat these feathers. How could he swallow? He also needs to be free to feel the wind blowing on his hair. Although it is no hair. Venom was extremely dissatisfied, so he broke out of domestic violence. He launched a strong and then returned to his original form, causing Eddie to fall down on the floor. He stood up painfully, repeating his law. Venom lives parasites. They must follow his rules. The previous losses have not been broken. If you eat again, both will be noticed by the FBI. Sometimes the first cuffs to Area 51. Martial arts will not be naughty. Venom knocked on the computer Eddie works. I was unpopular. He had to give his best friend. Eddie went to Miss Chan's store to find bad guys to eat hungry. But unfortunately, there is no guy who has been here. Can Venom suggest or eat her? But of course, Eddie did not give. So Plan B is conducted. Eat chicken or starve. Venom proves strength by flying on buildings, playing happily when I found out there was a bad person below. The bandit tried to snatch a lady's book bag, but he fell in love with a few punches of her sister. Immediately want to run. Venom launched his foot to hold his foot. As soon as Venom opened his mouth to chew his head, then Eddie was so pretty and prevented Venom is bored. So he threw him in nearby trash. Then hang on the roof and run quickly to find another dish.
Right now, Annie's phone called. Almost fell down below. May Venom quickly captured Eddie Heard. Beautiful people apologize for not responding to the message from him, because she still wanted to calm down from the last time. Annie actively appointment for dinner. Eddie was happy. Venom also told him to catch this opportunity. The next night, Eddie dressed up to the rendezvous of the two people before. Annie is still as beautiful as the day he lost her. Eddie hugged and did not take the beauty, thinking that everything would be better. Unexpectedly, seeing the engagement ring in her hand. It turned out that she made an appointment to announce that she was about to marry Dan. At this time, Venom inside is even more angry than him. Continuous curse of the doctor's name. Seeing his strange expression, Annie asked Venom to still live with him, sir. But he still lied to Venom, died. But Annie knew Venom was still there. She also asked him to take care of Eddie for her. He painfully congratulated Annie and left. He launched a crazy car on the road. Anyway, Venom here, he wants to not die. Venom apologizes for not being able to heal his heart. Advise you to be strong and accept the truth. Because to make your friend happy. The next day, Venom helped him cook breakfast, but doing it is very strange. Now Eddie just sat at the table and waited. While waiting, Venom reached out to the hot pot to bring a bunch of letters. Eddie received a letter from the murderer Cassidy. He wanted to see him last time. The same narrative about his life. Cassidy is a child almost dying, having been recovered at the time of birth. Jiang Si himself helped and became the light of his life. Cassidy blamed all his mistakes for Eddie. Venom heard that it was not his fault, so he didn't need it. But Eddie wanted to visit him for the last time. After a while, he brought out 2 horror meals, and his uncle sprayed all the time on him. The next day, the two went to the prison. This place, Venom, is like a buffet party. He kept thinking about chewing a few heads for his craving. Eddie came to meet Cassidy. He said he would be obsessed with death. But Eddie said he had not said anything to him. It is all his father. Cassidy doesn't care. He said he had seen him as a family, because both have a broken father. But he himself betrayed him. The murderer of Eddie Turtle has a broken heart, life in lonely. After that, the girl's girlfriend and his mother's death were left to excitement. If you haven't moved, Venom has been around. He rolled him into the wall. While Eddie took care of Venom, Cassidy tried to bite his hand. The police came to stop and take him out. Cassidy was shocked to realize something in him. Eddie is not blood. He pulled out in an experimental black heart. Returning home, Venom apologized to Eddie many times. But he was still very angry, because Venom always lied to everything. Eddie always said that she wanted a peaceful life, or because of the alien name.
Venom angrily argued, say he was lucky to be chosen by him. Eddie said that she was very new to Venom and Kay, because he was just a loser and fled from his planet. Venom is an inferior realm for him. Venom narcissism hits his nose. After that, I will fix it but take the opportunity to beat another one. Eddie crazy punching Venom's head. The battle is starting. Venom dragged him into the refrigerator and threw it into the bookcase, also demanding to chase Eddie out of the house while this house is Eddie's. Venom even angrily threw everything in the house on the road, causing neighbors to complain to the police. He dared to throw his favorite expensive TV. Eddie asked him to go to solo, but punched for no. Also wrapped in the neck. He struggled with Venom's tongue, but myself is the painful concubine. Eddie with a helmet hit her face. Venom makes a striker. Venom quickly grew new teeth, but still threw him on the ceiling. Eddie deliberately grasped the power source. Scrambled, Venom went downstairs to enter the man below. Eddie was lying with her loud noise under the house. It is Venom that is breaking his motorbike. Eddie was heartbroken, waited for Never Met You. Venom entered others, leaving Fuck's fingers, and then gone. Also in the evening of the judgment execution date Kasadi, before injecting poison for Kasadi to say last. But instead of fearing that, he shouted to enjoy the performance. Outside the victim's family, witnessing the wicked enemy. The poison was then injected into him. Kasadi's body convulses continuously, but seeing poison was pushed from him. Dozens of red flesh growing all over his body. In the moment of exploding, from the inside of the sharp red nails reached out. He turned into a giant monster. When he was about to chew the head of the judgment, when the alarm resounded, he was annoyed. Monsters walked outside the cell. Police fired continuously on him, but that body shot the bullets back to kill everything. He walked around in the middle of the prison, opened the liberation door for prisoners, jumped the corridor to drag the prison tree to the ground. Prisoners everywhere rushed to clap. This guy created a tornado, pulling through the gene into his head, then break the wall to jump out, turn the shape of the human singing, and discard. The next morning, Ad was so sad to clean the rubble, restores the closet and repaste the ceiling. Must clean up the peel of chocolate. Then he brought 2 chickens released in the park. Meanwhile, Venom also hurt. All night just sat stupid on the top
of the tower. But Admin went home to listen to the news, received the hot news that Kasadi escaped and was performing a hunt. At this time, someone knocked on the door. He worriedly went out to see Patrick. He said he did not know how he escaped, but he was the last to talk to him. I know anything about the escape plan, Kasadi? Ed really doesn't know anything. Now Patrick advised him to escape because he was higher. He would come to find him. No more Venom. Ed went a little insecure to listen to the interviews and his letter, wanting to find some information in it. This side, Venom is busy flying the guy who criticizes this drunken young man. Then, enter a girl and then show the original. This is also a makeup party that makes people only see Venom so cool when they hug him, a selfie. This side, Kasadi went into a small alley to kill Bosi, a person to wear the other person's toys. He was walking around the street to see a satisfactory car, then jumped his car. Kasadi looked into the mirror to see the monster Kashani. He said that if he could only kill him, he could become unbeaten. Kasadi agreed, but first he needed to find something lost. Kashani said it would help to see the white car next to the face, so entangled, so Kasadi throw it into the river. Returning to the nightclub, Venom wears a ring on the stage of a mic of a girl who declared that SD was wrong. With this eloquent statement, he became an idol of young people. Venom said not to be cruel to aliens. We can all live together on this stone ball. Becoming the person we want, but soon the body is out of energy. Falling into a corner of the wish, SD can see himself respectful. At the same time, the main character SD is rushing to run abandoned children. He went to the corner of the tree to see in the painting on which Kasadi loved Jancy. He looked at Patrick saying that the person who searched the person named Jancy would probably know where Kasadi would come. But he said she was already dead by his hand. Now, remembering that night, his hand was still the most painful. Kasadi drove to the store without saying that he had defeated the staff. Then asked Kashani to find the position of the lover. And here the doctor came to tease people Jancy. The newspaper Kasadi was shattering the whole city, but it was still late to find this place. Whoever doubted on the messaging machine showed the words now right here. She looked horrified with Kasadi standing inside. He stretched out the tentacles out of his neck. Jancy was happy to see her lover again. He introduced her to his friend Kashani. It is true that the muse of his heart. Jancy was not afraid, seeing dozens of red tentacles reach out and felt that his lover was cool and hot. As soon as the glass cage was broken by Kashani outside, the protection and the doctor ran in. He turned into Kashani, hiding on the ceiling to swing the tentacles towards the round umbrella on the door to kill them all. Then easily break the roof out. Kasadi also psychologically choosing the car that Jancy liked the most. Jancy happily drove back and forth to steer, and continued to run away. Kashani wrapped the car and pulled all three into the air. Jancy gives her lover a cheering kiss. Then Kasadi went into one with Kashani. He used tentacles to pull each police car to smash. There is also a slaughtering arsenal like slashing humus. The helicopter also flew to him constantly. Kashani took the car to support the bullet. Jancy was crazy and shouted. The sound causes the glass door to break. Kashani was also affected, back to the original Kasadi. The whole car fell to him and said Kashani's weakness. Jancy took the car to the gate. He always the helicopter and disappeared. This side, Venom was in trouble with the host who went to Miss Chen for help. Then fall down. She went to hug Venom in her lap, and the police received the news that went to Jancy's detention. Everyone in crisis was all monsters. The room was broken. Patrick immediately called Eddie to investigate. He asked why Kasadi invited him to see his execution, and he found dozens of information on strange things, like the Missile of Life Foundation. Each place Eddie was present, and claimed that he knew the clues. Now Eddie remembered when he bit his hand, so he himself caused this. He had to take responsibility, so Eddie asked to call his ex-girlfriend. Andy immediately arrived with her husband. Eddie told her he was in trouble. Andy told him to just tell the truth to the police, but that was impossible. Andy thought Venom was still in Eddie, so he wanted to talk to him. At this time, Eddie denied that Venom was no longer here, and he suspected she found Venom for her. Andy came to Aunt Chen because there was a bucket of her who loved him, but she was always annoyed because she broke Eddie's heart. Andy said Kasadi was also parasitic by alien species, and Eddie needs Venom to help. Auntie Chen immediately irritated that he himself said no need. Because of this sulking, Andy realized that this was Venom. He had 2 characteristic eyes. But still, I did not return. Until Andy uses the beauty, praise him as a hot hero. The lack of energy was self-conscious and immediately agreed. After the destructive couple was freedom, they were coming out of the sea. They decided to make a wedding party with Eddie's meat. And close to Venom. This side also brought Venom to see him. He brought Eddie out. When the police came to see only a big hole on the wall. Outside, Venom is more evident Eddie, getting him to apologize and pray for himself. Eddie whispered not to forgive, saying loudly, "The beauty told me why I shouted at my face." Finally, with Andy's guidance, he said his mistakes and apologized very sincerely. After a while, thinking about Venom, returned to Eddie's body. He wanted to kiss her once, but was rejected by Andy. Eddie said the 2 of them immediately left here, and there was nothing to use fire and sound against Monster again. After that, Eddie was a little angry at the face of the herd, but Patrick could not be more failed, looking for Eddie to meet Cassidy immediately. He pulled out the gun, but he immediately turned into Connie. How many bullets are also summed up by him. The C went to Eddie's house to seek not to see him, only finding a ring and picture of Andy. The 2 Andy people on this side immediately moved, but still a step slowly. She takes Dan into the trunk of the car, then threatened Andy to say Eddie's place. She immediately refused to cooperate and was arrested. She gave the address to Dan Bio, Eddie to bring it there. Dan panicked and called Eddie to the church. This side of the world entered the ceremony. Cassidy uses Patrick as a wedding gift for her lover. Before the witness of the church's father, in the final step, the river Venom came in. He was aggressively looking for Andy to see Connie, red immediately inside. Because the red-colored births are strong lonely. Venom lamb fleed to leave Eddie afraid to die. With his weak body, he will probably go to sleep with the earth. In the end, it was only possible to let Venom eat everything he liked, then he would come out. Both prepared to rush into each other, then they were all over. Connie angrily fluttered her, making Cassidy heartbreaking. But quickly pulled back by him, Connie released dozens of sharp thorns towards Venom. He dodged away of training and jumped to punch him. After that, the Connie people pinned to the ground. Anyway, a young child, so what is the first age of war as Venom? He punched, knocked down, and used the meat to lay people. But the strength of Connie is the scary regeneration. Through a few Venom moves, he was pinned on the wall. The C came to want to kill Patrick, but Connie told her not to scream too big. He received this opportunity and immediately called for his teammates, but was quickly chased by her upstairs. Under here, Venom has just been arrested again. Connie eats his porcelain in front of his helplessness. After a while, Venom flew away, but Woven now from above poured oil and lit fire. The C is preparing to hook the eye of Patrick. I heard the sound of Connie rushing in. The guitar quickly ran, but was still jumped up by him. I almost became a delicious dish in the abdomen, Connie. Fortunately, Venom escaped from above to pull his mech back. At this time, the 12-hour clock made the church shake. The 2 immediately fell back to the human form. Cassidy stood up on the Addy stone to beat his head into the iron bar. Give another punch, then turned into Connie throwing Addy. Fortunately, Venom promptly appeared to save him. Then both transformed into each other, walking from the air to the ground. The church bell again. Cassidy wrapped with eyelashes on the head of Addy. As soon as Addy was about to die, Venom appeared. 2 monsters struggled. Venom tries to fascist Connie's neck. He scooped up. Being turned around by Venom, the 2 were thrown away. But unfortunately, he had the middle of the middle, but Venom doesn't. After standing up, the accused of Connie from above wanted to sit up and could not sit up. Cassady picked up the hammer to close the Addy person. He is a kind of long-lasting enemy. And Giancy now wrapped the chain into the neck Patrick. Stone he fell below. Cassady also wanted to kill Annie in front of him. He turned into Connie using tentacles to pull the beauty out of the coffin and climbed up. Dan ran to help Venom from the rebel, but beyond the expected, when Connie arrived on the tower, Giancy told him to stop. He was angry to squeeze her neck in Cassady's helplessness. Venom realized they were not symbiotic, they oppose each other. And you and Addy are a couple. Venom tries to remind the cement, then quickly climbed up the tower. After climbing, Venom breathing like a dog because of tiredness. The moment Connie opened his throat, he held the iron bar to stab his head. Connie was so painful to let go of Annie. Venom flew down to take her, cut his feet and then stabbed into Venom's back. Push both piercing the clock tower. Venom tried to stay and brought Annie down to let Dan support her. After that, he climbed up when he was pierced many times. Venom could not stand down on the floor. At this time, Giancy has not died from getting up. Seeing her preparing to scream, Venom pushed Giancy to the ground, while falling in hatred loudly, causing the tower to explode. The bell also fell down to death. Outside, Venom borrowed power from Annie, and Dan should land safely. In contrast, Connie fell into a pile of sad meat. He could not leave Casati before Venom pulled up and chewed. Venom walked over to Casati. He said he just wanted something. Eddie asked what. He said he wanted to be friends with him. But Eddie said that Venom had a hearty dinner at will. Eddie said goodbye to Annie, and this time he truly blessed her and Dan. At this time, on the roof, Patrick had not died. His eyes changed color and missed the monsters. Eddie went to the park where the two chickens were released. He thought that the two should start the days to take each other to escape. The first place is to watch the sunset on a strange coast. The two exchanged love sent to each other. But Venom removed his eyebrow like a can. In the situation of after credit, Venom showed Eddie a small part of the knowledge contained in his head. This made both moved to a strange resort. The movie ends here. What do you think about these two movies? Leave a comment below for everyone. Thank you for watching. Click like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to receive my latest videos.